All right, good morning, everybody. Just taking a look here and getting things set up. See what we got. So looking at the charts this morning, looks like the Nasdaq is above the VWAP in the SMA here. And the ES is also. Might like to see a pullback here at open, maybe to test this VWAP level before we move higher. No real gap to speak of this morning. Like to get the ES over 4,300 this morning quickly. Would be nice. Maybe get a pull back into this VWAP level and a push up. 80s kind of be the key level today. Kind of the line in the sand for the ES today. If we break below 80, I think we sell back into the 60s. As long as we can hold that 80 level, we probably see 4,300 today. We do have a gap to the downside, small gap on the Nasdaq. Closed on Friday at 14,587 in that area. So there's a bit of a gap to the downside to just keep in mind here on the Nasdaq here at open. We're doing things a little differently today. I got the Topstep here on the left. Going to be trading the ES with the Topstep account. Going to be a little less aggressive with this account. And we're going to be trading the Nasdaq with the Apex account, since we're going to be being a little more aggressive with that one. Did take a small loser overnight, down $80 to start here. Nothing too crazy. We got about 6.5 minutes here until the market opens. The ES closed on Friday in the 92 range, so we're not opening up with any kind of gap on the ES there. It's pretty much going to open right at where it closed. I'm going to kind of try to be a little patient today. Don't really want to start the week off in the red. So just going to be patient, take what the market gives us, and kind of go from there. Let's see what kind of happens here at open. Would like to see us to pull back before we take off here. If we're going to take off today, I'd like to see a pullback to the VWAP, but it might just go. We do have a little bit of news coming out today. We got at 9:45 today. Let's see, what is that? Services PMI at 9:45. It is a 3 out of 3 event, so we should see some movement there. And then we have some other news coming out at 10 a.m. Non-manufacturing PMI. That's also a 3 out of 3 event. So that could possibly move the market here today. Tomorrow morning looks like we will have kind of a clean morning with no news. So at open here, we may not get any clear direction to start the day just because there is news here. But I think that 4,300 level on the ES here looks like it wants to get busted through and possible move up to 620 on the Nasdaq. But maybe we get a quick pullback and then push up here at open. Either way, let's kind of be patient and see what the market offers us here. And once again, if you weren't here when I started the stream, like I said, I'm going to be using the Apex account on the Nasdaq on the right side of your screen and the Topstep account on the ES on your left side of your screen. So I think I have everything set up correctly today, so we shouldn't have any craziness that I am aware of. All right, got about a minute and a half here until the market opens. Let's see what happens when the market opens. Like I said, no real gap to speak of on the ES. One minute. All right, 1 minute here until the market opens. Less than a minute, 30 seconds. See what happens. See what happens here at the market open. Like I said, I'd like to see a pullback into the VWAP before it kind of moves higher. Excuse me, but really just see what happens. Nasdaq pushing out of the gate here. All right, jumping in long on the Nasdaq here for this push through the gap. Possible breaks, stops already at break even here. Gonna move my take profit up a little bit here. Gonna kind of trail this up a little bit. Want to see it go here pretty quick. Locking in six handles there at least. Actually, I guess that was just, well, 5 handles. It didn't quite get through there. It's probably going to continue to go, but I didn't want to kind of risk it almost got to the full gap fill on the Nasdaq. Probably going to continue to go here, but so got the P&L back to plus $12 on the Apex account there. The ES kind of pulling back here, not allowing the Nasdaq to go there fully. If the ES can push through 94s, might head up to this 300 level. There you have that gap fill there on the NQ. Thinking about taking a long on the ES here. Let me see what we get. Pushing 600s there on the NQ. Definitely left a little bit on the table there. You know what? I don't want to jump into this move. I'm going to sit on my hands. I don't think with that news coming out at 9:45 there, if I hadn't gotten long here on the ES for the break of the 93, then really I don't want to be buying up here. Could easily pull back if the NQ kind of gets stuck here. Should have probably been a little more patient with my stop here on this this move on NQ. That is something that I'm going to be aware of today and try to make sure that I'm doing a little better job at. So ES pulling back there, and that's kind of what I was afraid of. I think it might pop that 4,300 a day, but I don't know if it's going to do it right away. Like I said, we got that news coming out. 9:45. All right, should probably get a move through the 600 here on the NAS, maybe to 610, a little overshoot. Might chase Friday's highs at the 620 level. ES kind of having trouble here. Like I said, I think we might get a pullback into this VWAP area on the ES. It's going to need some consolidation here before the move through 4,300. Just trying to be a little bit patient today. We want to make sure that we're not, we're not starting out Monday in the red here. We don't want to be in the red. No red for me. Not sure how volatile it'll be when that news comes out at 9:45, but yeah, I mean, if ES can get going for sure. I just don't want to be jumping in here this far. ES really hasn't made very much of a move. I mean, could have got long off this 91 for the pullback right there at open. I think we opened up at the 20 SMA there. This is what I got to get a little better at open. If I have strong conviction that we're going to fill the gap, then I probably should not be moving my stop at all and just letting the trade kind of go there. Only took 95 on that. What did we sell at? 79.50. So we get at least left maybe 10 handles, a couple $100 on the table there, but that's okay. ES making a run for that 4,300 level already. It's kind of surprising. Kind of surprising. I mean, I am kind of considering, I'm thinking about taking a long here to this 43.03 level, but I don't know if the risk is worth the reward there. So that's kind of the only issue I have with it. ES is just going. Nasdaq's going too. Wow. Going to have a little resistance there at that 4,300 level. If it eats through there, it's going to just go though. You know, one thing I noticed over the weekend, kind of reviewing my trades, not just the weekend, last week also, is that when I enter these momentum trades, when it's not really a true setup, and I just enter thinking, okay, it's going to go to 43.03, I tend to lose on those trades more than I lose on trades where just kind of trading a setup. So now that I think it's going to move to 43.03, I would much rather be long, you know, down here from the 90s or even the 80 level for that move back up to the 4,300. So I think I'm going to sit this one out. I'm not going to press the button. We're going to be patient today, like we talked about in our weekly recap video, and just wait for the proper setup here. We already took our one entry on the Nasdaq and got back to even on this account. So we touched that high from Friday on the NQ. If you haven't already, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Helps the channel. Let's look and see where the pivots are here. So on the Nasdaq, you got a pivot up at 645 to the downside. You got one at 557. On the ES, we have pivot all the way up at 43.14. And to the downside, the pivot is at 42.71. So we're kind of right in between two pivots here. Pretty wide range on the pivots today. Just gotta wait. Got news coming out in 5 minutes. I don't think there's much to do before that. Alrighty. Trying to push back up to the 20s here again on the NQ. So we're starting the week off here. We're up $881 in the Topstep account. And we are currently up $1,044 in the Apex account. So still needing a roughly $2,000 in each account, $2,100 in the Topstep, $2,000 in the Apex. So breaking back through the 20s here on the NQ. The ES trying to push through that 4,300 level here as well. 4 minutes until that news comes out. Let's kind of see what happens when these numbers come out. We also have numbers coming out at 10 a.m., so just going to be aware of that. Not going to be holding any trades for a super long time this morning, just with those back-to-back numbers coming out. But we will trade the momentum if it offers us some sort of an entry. Up to the 25s there on the NQ. I was kind of expecting a kind of a pullback today, just because the last three, I think three of the last 4 Monday, Tuesdays, we've kind of pulled back. We would, retrace some of the big moves that we've had on Thursday and Friday, and then on Thursday and Friday, we've made new highs. So approaching that 4,300 level here on the ES. Might just punch right through there. Just one big green boner candle on the 15-minute chart here to the upside on the ES and on the Nasdaq. Tapping 42.99.75 here, trying to get through that liquidity at 4,300. Nasdaq all the way up to the 40s now. Approaching that pivot there on the Nasdaq. Pivot's up there at the 46 level. $4,300 looking like it's about to get smashed through here on the ES. We're on the sidelines right now, just being patient. News coming out here in 2 minutes, minute and a half. Not even a minute and a half at this point. There's 4,300 on the ES, busting through there. Probably going to see 4,303. Possible move all the way up to 4,315. Got major resistance there at 4,315. News here in 45 seconds. News in 45 seconds. All right, got about 15 seconds here. Let's see what happens when this news comes out. Going to let the news come out, then kind of let it decide which way it's going, and maybe it'll offer us an entry. We also have news coming out at 10 a.m. All right, there comes the news. A little bit disappointing there, huh? NQ tried to bust through that pivot there, kind of getting rejected a little bit. Might push on up. All right, well, we established our 15-minute range here. Probably will break through that range pretty quickly here, but we'll mark it out either way. Let's see, mark this out. Simple concept for this is just looking for a break of the range. The only issue that I have with it is that we are kind of up here at the top of the range on both. News was kind of uneventful there. Simple strategy here, simple concept. Just try to wait for the break of the 15-minute range there, and then you just take a long or a short based on the break. And then once 10 a.m. gets here, we'll kind of look for the ICT silver bullet for our next entry. Yeah, it's kind of basing right here at the 4,300. Like to see a pullback really to the 20 SMA or the VWAP before kind of continuing higher. Like I said, we do have a little bit of news coming out here at 10 a.m. Not quite sure if it'll do much. Seeing as the news at 9:45 didn't do much. All right, if you haven't already, hit that like button for me and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Helps the channel. Appreciate it. All right, kind of pulling back here. Wouldn't really consider a short till we broke the VWAP. So we'd have to break the VWAP and kind of trade out of this range. Then would consider a short. You could also just kind of be consolidating here for the next leg higher. Could kind of just, you know, draw a trend line there and breaks the trend line to take the trade. These are the simple strategies that we just use at open. Just don't really, you know, no need to complicate things here. Just keep it nice and simple. So if we get a breakout here, maybe we'll take a trade to the upside. Like to really get a stronger pullback here. Looks like the ES and the Nasdaq kind of trading in a similar pattern today, which is nice to see for a change. Dollar stair-stepping down here. If you're not watching the dollar while you're trading, really should at least be paying attention to it occasionally. Kind of works in the opposite direction of the futures market here. So if we're pulling back, dollar should be going up, and vice versa there. Pulling back pretty hard here. Let's give it time, let it decide the direction. Kind of bouncing off that 20 SMA a little bit there on the ES. Trying to retrace most of that move. First thing. Got about 8 minutes until the news comes out. So 80 is kind of the line in the sand on the downside here on the ES. If we can't hold 80 on the ES, then I think we move back into the 60s today. So we're just going to wait. If we break through these 50-minute ranges, then we'll take a short. But nothing to do here. Just wait, be patient. Even though I get the feeling that we're probably going to just dump here. All right. NQ's kind of catching up with ES now. Reaching the 20 SMA here. ES kind of held up at the 20 SMA. Have to push through this 93 level here on the ES. Should have sell. Got relatively equal lows down here about 87. So that could be an area that we draw to. Trying to break through the VWAP here. May go ahead and enter short if we get through the VWAP on the ES. We have a market structure shift to the downside actually on the lower time frames here. So we could just wait for a move back up into the fair value gap. Let's see. Holding up here at the VWAP, maybe trade back up into this 95 level. Possibly take a short there, put our stop up at the 99. That's the idea anyway. So far, if we break out of the 15-minute range, then we may just go ahead and take the short, but Nasdaq bouncing off the 20 SMA there. Do have news coming out in 4 minutes here. Got news here in about 3 minutes. Like I said, I was kind of looking for this short here, but news was kind of uneventful earlier, so might be uneventful again. Trying to break down out of this gap here, out of this 15-minute range. Kind of hate to buy going into this news, but all right, well, we'll just take it. Short right now on the ES. I don't know how long I'll hold this trade since we're going into some news here in about 2 minutes. If it starts to pump back up here, I'm probably just going to kill it. Break above that VWAP, I'll probably kill this trade. It's going to kind of be my line in the sand there. Need to get this pushed down here pretty quickly. All right, got news coming out here in 1 minute. Trying to give this a little bit of time here since that news is coming out here in a moment. Well, it might get stopped before the news even comes out. "15 seconds here for this news to come out. All right, stopped out there. In retrospect, I should not have taken this entry so close to the news. But that's okay. Trying to push up here. So we're at the 10 a.m. hour here, so now we're going to kind of look for this silver bullet setup. I'm going to take this long here on the ES. It's moving up pretty quickly there. Also going to take the long on the Nasdaq. Let's see if we can push it up to this 04 level. Actually, let's take it higher here. Let's move our stop up. There we go. Nice little push through there. Got most of that loss back. We're at break even on, well, pulled back on the NQ there. Put it to break even, but So we got a nice little push up there on both. Only got $50 on that NQ squeeze up. Hard to watch both, but I jumped in both. I almost went long as soon as I got stopped out here at 250, but wanted to wait. So you see, should have been getting long for the breakout of this candle here in that 96 area, but it's all right. We took 4 handles, $200. So we're down $63 on our Topstep. We're up $59 on Apex. So pretty much break even. Net break even. So let's wait. See if we can't find this silver bullet setup. So we made a high here, made a new high, and now we're pulling back. So let's see what we get. Yeah, dollar's just making a new low. Pulling back here, kind of finding a little support there. What I want to do today is kind of mark these out as they form, because I tend to lose sight of them for whatever reason if I don't sometimes. Dog's in there barking. Sorry about that. Oh, that candle hasn't even closed yet. I wasn't even paying attention to it. So let's just leave this out until that candle closes. So working on a fair value gap to the upside here. Looking on the lower time frames. I don't really see one yet. There is one on the NQ on the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, in retrospect, I mean, you can see this traded right back down into it and then took off. So it's trying to be patient here. All right, here I got the NQ just trying to push on up here. All right, got about 5 seconds left on this candle. So that's going to be the small fair value gap for that one. And then over here on the Nasdaq, we will mark out the one over here. So kind of the thought process is trades back into these gaps. We'll take a long. I mean, obviously, could possibly have taken a long here for this trade back into this 15-minute fair value gap here, but all right, I'm going to take a long here on the ES. Stop's going to be pretty short stop here because it's the bottom of that fair value gap there. So If this gap doesn't hold, then that just means we're on the wrong side. But take a long out of that gap there. Might get stopped out there. That gap does not appear to be holding. All right, there we go. Moving in the right direction now as the NQ continues to push up. All right, trying to give this trade room to work here. Not liking it completely how it's kind of reacting, but don't want to judge it just yet. We're only risking $100 on this trade, so minimum risk. Might get stopped out here. And stopped out. Okay. So we're on the wrong side for that trade there. Only risking $100 there, so the price was right. So if we get this move down and we pierce this swing low here, we've created another fair value gap. Let's go ahead and take some of this off here. Strangely enough, we're working on a fair value gap in the exact same spot, but to the downside. Need this to break structure there to the downside. I guess technically. Not quite confident in the in this fair value gap on the NQ now, since the ES kind of traded through it on its side. So I almost feel like this will probably just trade right through there too. Nothing really to speak of here on the as far as fair value gaps on the ES. Everything has pretty much been traded through. All right, looks like we're taking a run at this swing low here on the ES. Maybe turn this this bullish fair value gap into an inversion gap. Possible, come back up, touch it for the move lower. Nasdaq's holding up a little better here than the ES. ES below the 20 SMA and the VWAP. Nasdaq above both. Not liking that completely. Really want to get the Nasdaq to move down, start moving down. It'll give you a little more confidence in this move down on the ES. Possibly get through 87, move all the way down to the 80 level, low a day. If the Nasdaq moves through that fair value gap, then we may take a short possibly. If we can get both moving here below the VWAP, like I said, I'm going to mark these out as I see them. Otherwise, I tend to not see them. All right, so we got a market structure shift now to the downside. So if we trade back up into this fair value gap here, could possibly be a short entry. Nasdaq trying to push through this bullish fair value gap over here on the 3-minute chart. Let's see what happens here. Again, the ICT silver bullet setup, can't talk. It's a time-based setup between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. will typically form. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. So on the 1-minute chart, no real fair value gap to speak of. 2-minute chart, we don't have one on the 2-minute chart. There's only one on the 3-minute chart, and 5-minute chart has one as well. No, 5-minute chart does not have one. So we got a market structure shift to the downside here. So you could put your order here to go short. And obviously we can move this on down if we create another gap on the way down. We could move it on down. But this is kind of the idea for this entry. Stop is going to be above the second candle that made the gap. So we get a push back up into that 91.50 area, fill us for this short down to the 80 area. Possible. So risk to reward on that one would be quite nice if it works out. Risking 150 for a possible $500 trade there. Looking at the NQ, there's no real fair value gap set up there either. There is a 15-minute. Well, actually, let's go ahead and mark that out as well. There is a 15-minute fair value gap here and a 3-minute as well. So traded back into that. So yeah, that's a little worrisome, the fact that we do have going to go ahead and go with the ES trade here, though, because this fair value gap is created after the 10 o'clock hour. So tagged in there. Like I said, only risking 150 on this trade. If we break this swing low here, we'll move our stop to break even. Kind of targeting this 80 level here. So short from 91.50 here on this trade. See if we can't get this move down. I like the reaction that we got to that gap there. A little nervous about this trade, though, to be honest. I don't know. All right, we're not supposed to move the stop to break even yet, but we're going to. All right, I'm feeling a little better about it now. If we can go and break that swing low. Then I'll feel much better about it. Let's target this 85 level. If it moves through there quicker, then we'll move this on down a little bit. So a risk-free trade at this point. Let's lock it in $50 there. I don't want to walk away from this trade with nothing, but get through this 87 level strong here. I think we get the quick move down. Short from the 91.50 here on the ES. All right. I'm going to go ahead and lock in my 5 handles at this point. Well, actually, that's not 5. I can't count. Well, stopped out there on that trade. I probably should have never moved my stop. Probably going to kick myself for that one. On this silver bullet setup, you're not supposed to move your stop until you eclipse your 5 handles. So you move your stop to break even once we eclipse this swing low, which we never did. So I kind of mismanaged that trade there. Not 100% happy with it. I mean, obviously we made money on it, but you know, I'm just with the Nasdaq kind of holding up here. this is kind of what my concern is. Nasdaq's holding up. It's not moving down. It's got this bullish fair value gap here. So kind of a little concerning. Like I said, I believe this trade is going to go all the way down into the low 80s here. I believe in that short. I think it's going to go to the low 80s. But just got to get the Nasdaq to start moving down with it, even though the NQ is kind of front running the Nasdaq today. So let's wait for our next possible entry. Sometimes on these silver bullet setups, you have to, it'll trade back to your entry. You'll be up 3-4 handles. It'll trade back to the entry and then move back down again. So we could potentially re-enter if it does that. Didn't really get through that 85 level there. I kind of feel like, I don't know, now that it held that 85 level, I'm almost thinking this might try to move back up. I think we might go right through this gap now that I'm looking at this. It's just kind of an intuition there. We failed to break through that 85 level. 80 to 85 is kind of your support levels today on the ES, and we failed to break through this level. So wouldn't be shocked if we just started moving back up, but I'm okay with our patience this morning. We've taken on the ES one. What have we taken? 3 or 4 trades, I think. One trade there. Can't see. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've taken 4 entries on the ES today. So I'm okay with that. Nasdaq, I think we've only taken 2 trades this morning. $50 there and $95 there. Almost made it back up to that fair value gap, trying to kind of move down. I almost feel like we're just going to range here for a while. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Well, let's just see what happens. Let's see here. Kind of hanging out there. Like I said, I think we might just be moving into this range level. If we see this range level, then we may start trading the range. Let's see here. Let's look and see. ES 5-minute fair value gap. I don't see a fair value gap yet on the ES. Yeah, definitely looks like we're about to be ranging here. You can almost just draw, you know, draw a zone here. Yeah, I mean, my short position, sure, it never has came back to my entry. So that, this could just be a little consolidation area before we move lower. There is pretty heavy resistance there at 85. Looks like the Nasdaq's trying to test the top of the range, so is the ES. Let's see what happens here. Getting a little volatility to the upside. Might be entering that time of day where we're just not going to have much going on. You can see we're up $59 on the Apex account, down $47 on the Topstep account, so pretty much an even. I'm not 100% happy with how I've managed my trades so far this morning. The Apex trades, I think, were fine. The ones on the ES, though, could have been managed a little better. So should probably still be short on the ES at this point, but just with the Nasdaq not really doing what I expect it to do, I just didn't feel comfortable with it. Well, I'm kind of considering starting to switch over into like range mode, but I feel like I'm going to like a short position a lot more than a long position here in range mode. So you just kind of short at the top of the range and hold it for the bottom of the range, or for a point or two of profit. So you can see we'll just draw out our box here. Similar thing here. Kind of in this area. Just ranging. So a potential short opportunity, if it moves back up here, we could just take a short, maybe for the low of this candle, just a little 2-3 points at a time, $125 per trade. Not my favorite way to trade, to be honest, but because your risk to reward's not really where you'd like it to be. So if we do take a range trade here, my idea of not moving my stop quickly is out the window. I'm going to put the stop to break even as soon as I'm able. So we'll kind of short this range here, looking for a possible move down to 87. If this pops VWAP, then obviously we'll just take it off. It would pop it the one time that we take the range trade, huh? That's the reason why I'm not really a huge fan of these range trades. Don't like already how it moved out of that range. This needs it to just reject and move back down here. Again, we're going to move to break even as soon as possible here. Literally, as soon as we get one tick in the green, we're going to move to break even. Or just put it at 100 here and see if it taps it. It just taps it, because that will be a new high, new swing high there if it hits the 100. I know as soon as I manually take it off, it'll just move down. But this is the exact reason why I'm not a huge fan of these range trades, just because the risk to reward's not there. All right, stopped out there for 100. Moving back above the VWAP now. Kind of breaking out of the range. NQ didn't really break out of the range. It's still kind of holding it. See if this thing prints above the VWAP. All right, let's see here. Looks like it's trying to move back up. NQ kind of moving to the top of that range. And look at that. Goodness. Trading back to the entry now. NQ's looking a little stronger here. ES trading right back into the range, going the direction we wanted it to go now. Kind of trading out of this range on the NQ, but since the ES kind of got rejected, I'm thinking the ES or the NQ might get rejected too. All right, we're going to take a quick long here, just kind of targeting this area, I think, on the NQ. Going to go ahead and move my stop to even here, because we are on 2 contracts here, so we don't want to give a whole lot back. See if we can get this quick push through here. Trailing it up a bit. And didn't want to get too close to it, but trailed that up there. ES also broke out of that range. Kind of moving higher here. Couldn't jump into both trades at the same time there. I don't know. I don't know why I feel so much more comfortable on the NQ. I'm not sure why. It moves faster, but I just feel way more comfortable trading the NQ. So, quick liquidity grab there. That's all that was. And then pulled back, right back into the range. The ES did not quite make the same type of move. Could have got a point or two out of it, though. I don't know. I was trying to trade the ES because it's a bit, less risky with one contract with my Topstep account. But now I'm not. I don't know. I almost want to switch them both over to NQ and just trade them at the same time. Down 152 on the Topstep account, up $323 on the Nasdaq or on the Apex account. So traded right back into that range. Haven't really seen the, let's see here. Well, honestly, the short from this morning that I was in, the stop would be at that top of that candle there, so still wouldn't have gotten stopped out on that short yet. And maybe that's kind of what we should have been looking for there. Let's see here. Let's check the lower time frames here. I mean, I'm not really seeing any fair value gaps. Yeah, I guess I probably should use these boxes as like a do not trade zone instead of a range bound, trade zone. Probably should just not be taking trades unless we break out of these zones. That probably would make more sense. Probably a good idea. Maybe that's what we do with these boxes instead. These 15-minute candles do not look great on the Nasdaq and the ES. Check this out. Well, we'll show the Nasdaq first. Look at these 15-minute candles. I mean, that one is just a complete wick. That one almost has no body. This one's very small body, big wick. So not a good look. Not a good look there at all. This entry here still seems like the trade of the day that I missed. Traded back into this 3-minute fair value gap. Big gap though, from 92 down to 70. So it'd be about a $400 stop on that. It's not something I really like. I guess you could wait for it to come back in to get a more favorable entry. I mean, I guess technically this wick here does not invalidate this gap yet because it is just a wick. The body of the candle did not close through the gap. But then you're looking at the 15-minute chart on the ES. You can see very, very similar wick. Trying to push up now. Still pushing up out of that range on the ES here. Nasdaq's trying to go with it. Maybe make another push back up here to the 640s. Coming up on 10:45 here in about 3 minutes. I don't know if, well, the NQ still is trying to break out of this range here. NQ is trying to push up again here. Might take an entry on the Topstep account on the NQ here. I'm going to take a long just for this kind of liquidity grab here. Try to be patient with this one if we can. Need to see it go pretty quickly here though. I don't know why my stop is it's not putting it where it needs to be there. I don't understand what's going on with that. All right, so once we get to $100 in profit, 5 handles, then we're going to go ahead and take break even stop at that point. All right, break even stop at this point. See if we can get this full move up to the 40s here. I think we can. Possible move all the way up to the 40s. Now we're going to lock in $100. Lever the move up, locking in $100 here. Looking for a little more. We're going to lock in a little more here. 200. Looking for the full $400 here if we can get it. There we go. $320. I'll take that. And guys, I can't explain to you. I don't know what the difference is between the ES and the Nasdaq. I just feel so much more comfortable on the Nasdaq. I have no idea why. So we took that trade on Topstep. We didn't take it on the Apex account. So nice little $320 winner right there on the Topstep. So it puts us at $162 for the day. And we're up $323 on the Apex account. So that puts us back into the green. And it's continuing, still pushing here. I may just have to not worry so much about the risk and just trade what I'm comfortable with. If I'm comfortable on the NQ, should probably just trade NQ on both of them. Can still look for setups on the ES, but just stick with the NQ. Probably going to get a push through the 50s here. I don't think it's going to leave relatively equal highs, but we took our profit, so we're going to just wait. I don't really like how I managed that trade either, to be honest. I moved my stop up a little faster than I should there. Could have easily gotten stopped out for, say, $100 when it's pretty clear that this was going to move up to the, at least break this. And there we go. There's the push through. Looks like ES might be trying to make new highs here too. Trying to get through that 4,300s. It could just, it could just reverse here. So I'm not really seeing the ICT Silver Bullet setup yet. I mean, I guess technically this could be it. You have this, let's go ahead and get rid of this range box. You have this fair value gap here, which your stop is supposed to be here, but some people, ICT does teach it sometimes to put it here. Since you do have this other fair value gap here, we did trade back into it. So I guess technically that could have been your entry for this move higher. I'm not really seeing that same type setup here on the ES, so we do have a little bit more time though. I guess technically this could be a break of market structure too. We broke several of these, so it could trade back into this gap for a possible entry. Same thing here if this completes. Well, actually we do have a gap here. Let's take a look at it. Let's go ahead and take this range box off here. So we have another fair value gap here. Although I don't know if I'm going to take another entry on the ES. Like I said, I've not done a great job trading it today. All right, let's see what happens here. Looks like the ES and NQ are kind of pulling back here together. Just kind of watching the NQ here. Excuse me. Only thing I don't like on the NQ, it did kind of, grab this liquidity above here before it moved back down. I think your entry really was here. I saw this gap, but because we were not quite in the 10 o'clock hour, this candle occurred at 9:57, slightly before. Otherwise, this would have been a nice entry. I guess technically it did get close enough here. I could have taken an entry on the Nasdaq. It probably would have ticked me in. ES trying to push up. Coming up on the 11 o'clock hour here too. Pushing through here on the ES, trying to get back up to that 4,300 level. both the ES and the NQ are trying to push up here. I want to see a little more of a pullback into that gap, but I didn't really get it. I know it did touch it almost there, but would have liked to seen it trade back into it a little bit. See if we can get a pullback into this fair value gap. All right, getting a big move up here on the NQ, busting through there, making a new high a day. Let's see if it can bring the ES with it here. Get through 300 strong. Might get this move up to 43.15. Coming up on 11 o'clock here. Got about 5 more minutes. Again, I think this was the silver bullet setup here. You know, didn't really capitalize on that today. Could have taken another entry here. Didn't do it. So, you know, trading in hindsight's always a lot easier than doing it in real time. Got to recognize it in real time and hit the button. So, got caught up in a couple of trades this morning now that I'm looking at that probably weren't great entries. Like I entered short here, knowing I already knew that 85, even 87 at the time, was a pretty big resistance area, and you can see that it just held. As soon as it held and it kind of went higher here, I probably should have been trying to take a long, but I was thinking because we had this bearish fair value gap here, small one, that might be the silver bullet setup there, but not really. Hasn't really formed yet on the ES today. There's another fair value gap here at 94. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, share the video. I appreciate it. So maybe we'll get a trade back into this fair value gap on the ES before we get this push through 4,300. Dogs in there barking at something. All right, getting a pullback on the ES here, possibly into this fair value gap. Coming up on the 11 o'clock hour, so suppose we'll take a trade on the ES here if we trade into this fair value gap here. All right, taking the long here on the ES, risking $100 or so, 125 looks like. 93, so we'll take our profit. We're just going to target this swing high here. Should give us 5 handles. Let's see if we can't get it. And I'm probably going to move my stop here pretty quickly, guys. If we get up $100, $125, we're just going to go ahead and make it a break-even stop. Yeah, going to break even now. So I just don't know how much I trust this setup, time of day and things like that. So free trade, we'll see. We're either going to get stopped out for break even or maybe it'll move on up for us here. Take out that 98 area, 99. All right, locking in, I don't know, $50 here. Just going to trail this up. Locking in $75. $82.50. 100. See if it can just continue to go here. We'll just follow it up. Might stop me out. And there we go. Stopped out. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I mean, again, this might turn out to be a great trade that I just kind of mismanaged. But I'm okay with that. We made $100 on it. It was risk-free almost immediately. Puts us pretty close to our daily profit target on this account, which is $300. I may not feel the same way about it if it breaks the 4,300 level and goes for high a day, but as of right now, we feel all right about it. Again, you know, still working on the managing of the trades here. In hindsight, it's easy to say just move it to break even and leave it there and let it go. But, you know. So we took 100. Looks like this probably will move right through that 4,300 level and just keep going. ES is moving up. Nasdaq certainly should move up with it here. Phil would have been at 48.75. Let's see if we would have got it. At this point, I'm certain we would have, but you know, mentality. Mentality is the name of the game here, and if you don't have that mentality right, sometimes it's going to cost you. The fear of losing is real. So we didn't quite get filled there. It went up to a high of 98.50, but it looks like it probably will reach up there to it. All right, we crossed the 11 o'clock hour here. Probably going to continue to push. This is why I trail it up sometimes, because I just don't want to give any profits back. I like to just lock them in as I can. Probably just got a little too close there on that one. Got to get through that 4,300 level on the ES in order for the bulls to kind of be back in control here. Kind of rejected it a couple times here. We blasted through there here and then just kind of rejected. All right, NQ kind of trading back almost into that fair value gap. Didn't quite make it down there. Haven't really been looking at the 1 minute chart all that much today, and now that I'm looking over there at it, I'm kind of regretting it a little bit. I missed an entry on the NQ there, looks like. That I just did not see. You can see it didn't quite trade into this gap on the 3 minute, but if we switch over to the 1 minute, this gap here it traded right into. So you would have gotten long here at the 41, moved all the way up to 71. This is why it's important to pay attention to multiple charts here. So we broke this swing high, straight shift to the upside, traded back down into this gap here, and continued higher. Just got to keep my eye on all of these charts if possible. Makes it difficult sometimes. I'm looking at the ES and the Nasdaq streaming at the same time. So ES kind of traded right back into that fair value gap again and bounced out of it. We did hit the entry here on the 3 minute chart. Could have taken it again right here for a quick little move back up, but All right. ES trying to move up here. Again, if it doesn't get through that 42.99, 4,300 level, then that's the level that it kind of needs to pop right through there. Just kind of watching this 4,300 level here on the ES. Just kind of looking for the next entry here, but not seeing it so far. I mean, you got kind of a couple of fake outs here. You know, like I said, we are holding this 3-minute fair value gap so far. You do have this inversion. Well, I guess it's not. That's also another 3-minute fair value gap. So I guess I could just take that one off. It's been traded through already. Okay, there is a bearish gap here as well. All right. Kind of made a new high there on, well, double topped on the NQ there. Didn't really get to the new high. A few ticks away. We are green on the day, so I do like the patience that we've kind of shown this morning. We weren't really patient with moving our stop per se. There's only one, or there's maybe two trades that I would, that if I could, I would kind of take back there. Probably, I mean, maybe this short here wasn't a real entry. This was just kind of me following price action down. We broke out of the 15-minute range because there's the bottom of the range. Was in the green for a moment, and then it just kind of reversed on me. So this was a failed 15-minute breakdown trade. So not necessarily a bad entry. We followed our rules on this one. The only thing I will say is that my stop probably should have been at the top of this candle, which I guess that's where it was. Yeah. So 250 on that one. This one was shifted market structure, came back up, tagged us in short, got stopped out. That one was okay. And then this one, shift to the downside, traded back up into this gap. We got short, took a little 125. No, this was a, what was this one? Oh, so we got short here. This was also one that wasn't really a setup. This is just a break of the, so see, I'm kind of reevaluating these trades now. And so I have a $250 loser and a $100 loser from what I would consider to just be kind of momentum plays. Their break of the 15-minute range that just did not work. So as you look back at these, it makes you rethink maybe taking these breakdowns. It cost me $350 there. We do have a loser here. That was that range play that I tried to make that I did not, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of those. So I'm probably going to have to take those kind of plays out of my playbook there. We got to, if we outline a range instead of taking a range-bound trade, maybe take the breakout of the range. It's going to make a little more sense. And then obviously we had this long here, traded back into the area. We took $100, probably could have got 200, but that's fine. So you can, you can be a perfect trader in hindsight, but these breakdown trades that aren't really setups, probably should be moving my stop to break even pretty quickly on those. The ones that are setups, I should be leaving my stop. Nasdaq, we made much cleaner trades today. I don't think we had a single red trade on Nasdaq today. We made 50 there, 100, and 170. So 270, 325 on these. Plus 95, 415. And then we did take another NQ trade here. $320 on this particular one. I should have clicked this one on both, but. So NQ trades, I'm not taking a loser today. Nice to see. But again, hindsight, it's kind of 20/20 there. Just got to learn from the mistakes you make every day and try to implement them the next day and maybe not repeat it. All right, well, it's about 11:15 right now. I was thinking about just streaming straight through today, but I think I'm going to need a break. I'm pretty hungry. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and end the stream here and come back at 2 o'clock today, trade the last 2 hours of the day. So if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We'll see you today at 2 o'clock. Appreciate you watching.